Jeff Jonas, IBM Chief Scientist of Analytics. Jeff, you recently said something that I thought was very un-IBM-like. You said that, you're sitting back now, you're listening to me now carefully, right? You said that the more data we have, the more ignorant we become. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's my observation that data's being created at a pace faster than organizations can make sense of it. So visualize here a curve of, as computers are getting faster, data's growing like this, and organizations' ability to make sense of it has been moving like that, flattening out even. The gap is widening. So if you take an organization today, and if they could make sense of 7% of what's knowable, and that's not only knowable what's inside their own enterprise, but that'd be what people are saying about them on Twitter, what's going on in the blog space, what's talking in the newspapers that might affect their business, that whole universe of what's available to them. If they can make sense of 7% of it today, I argue that tomorrow it's 4%. So a week after that, or after that, it's 1%.
So what's happening to the rest of the data, the 93%,
well, it's
97%?
The data's still there. I think of it like smoking guns. It's actually evidence that they knew. Huh? Soon as, if something bad happens, there's a large retailer. 2 out of every 1,000 people they were hiring turned out to have already been arrested for stealing from them at the same store. Like, that's amnesia, right? It's because it's totally present right there in their enterprise. There's this pile of data and this pile of data, and because the two didn't connect. So this data that these organizations aren't harnessing are basically just drives inefficiencies, drives missing the obvious. I refinanced with a bank, and they called me every week for 6 weeks trying to get my business when they had it. That's amnesia. That's not being, that they can't, that's what's happening to them is they're experiencing this curve. And I think we've seen nothing yet. I think the curve that we're on is there's going to be so much evidence that you knew, and it's going to be so obvious you missed the obvious. I mean, I think organizations are apt to look more negligent for missing the obvious.
So what you're saying then is you have services like Twitter and Facebook that are pumping out more and more data, and less of it is understandable, less and less of it is analyzed.
It's less available to them, and there's not enough humans. I saw this back in the 90s. There was one of the casinos brought in a high roller, and they were not even on a bad guy list, but they were referenced related to some, organized bad group, and they didn't catch the fact that that was the person, but it was right there in the newspaper. They were deemed to be negligent to have missed that, to let somebody like that into their casino.
So this is the new frontier for entrepreneurs, right? Making sense of data. If 97% of it is being missed, then there must be huge entrepreneurial opportunities.
Oh, I think there's just enormous opportunity in being able to make more sense of data and make better predictions.
So doesn't Google do that? I thought Google was the beginning and end in the data business.
Well, it turns out I think of them as a giant pixel sorter.
What does that mean?
Every document's a pixel.
Right.
Today there's so many documents. Tomorrow there's 10 times as many documents. And every day when you go to search, it just orders all the documents. And the top document's the top document. It doesn't have any awareness.
No intelligence.
No intelligence between the documents. Huh? It misses local context. If I'm going to Dubai and I'm staying at the Burj Al Arab, which is their really fancy place with the golf, or with the tennis court on top. Huh? If I search for a souk, one of these markets there, if you're searching in Google, if it had local awareness, local context, it would know that the first souk to show you would be the most expensive one in all of Dubai, and the second one would be the closest to the Burj Al Arab. Today, Google can't see that.
So you need to have services sitting on top of Google.
Yeah, I think so.
And can Google do that, or will it require new companies?
That's a good question. I'd hate to speak to whether they could do it or not. I suppose Google could do anything if they put their mind to it.
Can IBM do it?
I think any company could do it if they put their mind to it.
Even Microsoft?
Of course.